What's up, Krypton fans? We're here to talk about Civil War's Doomsday. This was a crazy episode. We have more information on General Zod, kind of confusion and drama between him and Adam Strange, and a failure to kill Voice of Ra. But so stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Woo! Kneel before Zod.
We went back to the classics, you guys. We did hear some haters in the chat about.
Yeah, this is actually from Man of Steel. I tried to look up the Zod's theme, so I figured it was a little bit Zoddy. Zoddy episode, you know?
I feel like the whole episode was kind of a Man of Steel Zod vibe.
Yeah, so Zod that I actually am not donning the cape. Not because I forgot it, but because it's Zod's episode and I totally didn't forget.
Like I said, everyone, you guys, welcome. We're here to talk about Civil Wars. This was a crazy episode. I know Twitter was going wild about it. Everyone really liked this episode, I think. I love this episode. To start it off, I'm Steph Sabraw, and to my left is...
I am Anthony Baccera.
So what'd you think of the episode just off the bat?
Ooh. I gotta say, I loved, right off the bat, I loved the review of Doomsday. And I like the way he looked. I thought it was really cool. What I said about last episode about how Strange's and also Zod's like views, it was gonna come to a head. I thought it was gonna come a little bit later, but it happens like right off the bat. And I was like, okay, cool.
I agree. I kind of I wish it kind of was a little bit more prolonged, but they did do a good job of speeding up relationship ties pretty quickly. I love this episode. I mean, seeing Doomsday was wild because I feel like no one's ever done him like that at all, and he's such a crazy, important comic book character.
Yeah, I was hoping like, can he move? Can you make him twitch a little bit? Like
he's like Austin Powers frozen.
Yeah.
But I loved. I just love. There was so much drama. I was freaking out the entire episode. I didn't know what was gonna happen because between Jaina and that whole plot line, and then trying to find this weapon of mass destruction, it was wild.
Yeah, bombs were dropping left and right.
Yeah, so you guys, we're going to be talking about the plan to kill Voice of Ra, which ultimately ended up in a failure, unfortunately, and the whole Seg-El, General Zod, Adam Strange plotline. And then from there, we will have your very special character corner.
Yes, Zod. We're covering
and then
Zod
we'll
later.
have some news and gossip, and then predictions, and wrap it up. So let's just get into how the episode kind of started with Seg, Lyta, General Zod, and Adam Strange. This was where Lyta and Seg started to question who to trust and the different motives, and we find out a lot more about Brainiac.
Right.
General Zod lets us know that Brainiac did not time travel, which we all had thought, but he was actually, this is how he does it. It takes like about 200 years.
Yeah, he's just been around.
Where he just takes things until
taking
it's
the walk
over. And we did know that he's way ahead of anyone's time on Krypton. And so that does make sense that the weapons wouldn't be able to destroy him. So what did you think about the whole Adam Strange, General Zod thing? And if you were Seg, would you be siding with General Zod?
That's such a hard position. Like, who do you trust?
I don't know.
Yeah, because like on top of that, okay, he's known Zod for a lot less time than he's known Adam, right? But it's just like, I guess it's because of that lie, that bomb that came out about like your plan's gonna be destroyed, and that's what needs to happen, is what really sent the rift between Strange and Seg. It's so hard to, like, who do you trust? Because there's this guy from the future who's Jaina's son, and then there's also
son.
My bad. Yeah, Lyta's son, and then it's also another guy from the future. But you've been more like buddy with him. But he kept this information that he kind of knew about, and it's just I gotta say, he should have gone. I think he should have still gone with Adam, in my opinion, because it leads to a greater good overall. Although, you know,
but we don't know. Like, how can he know that? And with the fact that this is Adam's second time of not really handling mass destruction well, like both Seg's parents died, and he's like focused on this end outcome that of course you understand it, Adam, but no one else understands it because this is a completely different planet.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going with assuming that Adam's right and like what he's doing is gonna lead eventually. But I'm thinking that everything they're doing is going to lead eventually to Superman's birth. Like, are they going to try and rewrite history? Like,
I mean,
Superman's
that's the
history?
ultimate
Like,
question.
on this show, are they going to rewrite Superman's history? I thought they were playing with the history that was already, like, the lore that was there. But it seems like they might be changing it.
I think on that point, there's no way that I think they could change the history, but regardless, we will still get Superman.
Right.
So maybe it's just like they still have Krypton, but he leaves for the greater good of something. I'm not sure. I don't even want to think about that because I like to think of the show, like they said, as a standalone. So
right.
I don't get too bogged down
get back
on it because
in the
everyone
vacuum.
loves Superman.
Yeah.
So, and it was interesting because Adam Strange, I just feel like with General Zod, Seg's wifey, essentially, that's her son. There's like ties to be made there, I feel like, and it gets sketchy to believe someone who isn't from your planet, who doesn't share Kryptonian values and doesn't understand Kandor. So that plot line progresses, and he finds out that General Zod he made the Black Zero kind of area in this space because when he was in the Phantom Zone, he was able to find out that one of the weapons, that this weapon could destroy Brainiac. Yeah,
he's been searching the catacombs for a long time, searching for this weapon of mass destruction, who is later revealed to be Doomsday. And the Synthonites are the ones that are guarding it because it has the capabilities to destroy anything. And it's not controllable, as been like shown in the previous Superman lore. Like Doomsday is the one that kills Superman in the death.
Of course.
So it's
but it was so cool. I love how they tie, because you kind of what I loved about this episode is it made the Jaina Zod and the Zod family episode even more important than it was, where you started to humanize General Zod and kind of think, like, he really does just love Krypton, and he loves his people. And so although he becomes Superman's greatest villain, and the General Zod we know is not good, it makes you think, like, is this a different type of General Zod? And then the coolest part, one of my favorite parts of the episode, was how the Zod and Seg-El, the L family symbol, was the
it was superimposed on top of each other.
Yeah,
I thought it was really cool. Okay, so there's like a lot to unpack, because it's like, oh man, how do we even start this?
I know, because we have Doomsday, we have the family ties, we have back history, and we have what the heck are they going to do with this now? Yeah.
I think the show definitely wants us to sympathize with Zod because of leading up to what his motives were, kind of like seeing like what's this Zod about. They implemented the seed of like Jaina's past and everything. So like our sympathy for them started to grow there. Or not grow, but like grew the strongest there. And now let's introduce this character, and now you kind of want to sympathize with him. And it's such a mixed feelings for viewers, because you're like, oh man, like Zod's usually really bad, and in this version, like he's standing for something that's so good, as in saving Krypton, and it's such a difficult like alignment. I don't know where I'm at. I'm like on the fence.
Yeah.
Are we choosing sides? Is there like a section?
I don't know.
Is there a Strange side? Is there a Zod side?
I think so.
Are we doing this?
Well, Seg clearly is doing that.
Yeah, they're on Zod's side.
I love how this show does this, because and when we had Cameron Cuff and Sean Sipos on, they were saying how it's about the individual character and the decisions that they make, and they really do like punch that in, especially with General Zod and Adam Strange, because you have two characters like for now you see that are good. We don't really know too much. We know that a little bit more about this Adam Strange. But they have both these different motives that are both good. Like, you're both trying to save people, but it's hard because is there really a right decision at all?
Right.
If General Zod is really only there to save Krypton and not to ruin the timeline of Superman.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, oh man, again, I don't know what to think. Like, it's
I know.
It's so hard. I love Adam Strange. I want him to succeed, but like I guess all you gotta do is just strap in and just keep watching. like what's
Buckle
her
up,
to
everyone.
What's her to do? These
I know.
are both great guys, as far as we can see. Like, you know,
we just create their dating profiles. But I'm really excited because obviously they're not just gonna give us this introduction of Doomsday if he's not gonna come back.
He better come back.
He has to. I mean,
has to.
it has to happen. And I think that this has been a big lead up for the show. And I think what they were saying exactly is right, that the first 5 episodes were kind of setting things up and now things are really moving forward. And
they're sprinting.
confused what Doomsday can, because he can't be controlled, like you said.
He just destroys things.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. Yeah, he's just gonna go haywire on
He
Kandor.
looked really scary.
Yeah, he was terrifying. Imagine if Brainiac gets a hold of that. Like, what?
And goes into his body.
Yeah, that'd
Things
be
would
intense.
be ruined.
You get a Brainiac date? No, that didn't work. A Doomniac? Also, I want to touch on real quick just like that cool like relationship between Lyta and Drew Zod. How they're like, oh, like he like spouts out, he like legit
Finishes
spouts
her
out, yeah, like
sentences.
spouts out like the Zod code of honor, you know, and she's like, oh, that's my boy, like
I
that was so
know.
sweet.
It is, and it's also sad to hear that, you know, he said that she became kind of like darker and more to herself and serious, which right now she's so fierce and fiery and has this like love with Seg. And they've also not touched on the fact like, oh, like this is for sure not our kid.
Right.
You know?
Like, I love that too. It's like, oh man, I just thought there would still be a future with us, but I guess not.
She didn't say that though. She still is like, maybe there is. But I guess everything's artificial anyway, so the kids don't really matter genetically.
Ooh, or do they? I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
know. So do you have anything else to say? I mean, that plotline is kind of what will be carrying us forward, I think, as well as the plotline we're about to be talking about. But a lot of that was more, there was a lot, I feel like, seeded, but not a lot of too much action between them. They were just going for one thing. And at the end, Seg decided, like, we will do this, but without Doomsday, which I love. I feel like Seg-El always makes the best decision.
Right. So I want to ask you something though, real quick.
Ask me.
Did you think Adam's decision to not say that the planet's gonna blow up, like not even ever bring it up, was that a good call? Like, would you have done that as well?
I don't know. When he said it's a really, like, I mean, it's just hard to bring up. I get that. But I feel like I definitely would have.
Right.
Because he's going to find out. I feel like he would eventually. I don't know. I feel like I would have told him. Because it's so
Yeah.
important to. He already lost everything. So it wasn't that much to lose by just being honest. Like, you're already telling him the craziest stuff ever that he didn't think could existed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
Would you?
I totally would have. Not right away, because
Yeah, wait.
you know, yeah, wait until I gain this trust a bit, and then be like, hey, you know what? There's something I've been omitting. Haven't told you completely. Yeah, we're trying to save Krypton, but at the same time, it has to happen because it has to happen, and then your plan's gonna blow up. But it's gonna lead it to
But
to the world's greatest hero, and he's gonna save millions of lives, and he's gonna be one of the greatest heroes of all time. But you know, your whole civilization has to collapse and stuff.
Yeah, you have to say it. Honestly, I really do love Adam Strange's character, and I feel like he is really loyal to Seg. But
Yeah.
how do you miss over that? Like,
Yeah.
now that we're really talking about
I guess
that,
he would like sprinkle on top, but you're gonna be totally dead before any of that.
and Lyta will be dead. Everyone will be dead.
Yeah.
But also, it's like important because if you warned that, then maybe they could start thinking of plans to evacuate the planet.
Ahead
you
of-
know,
ahead of time.
They
Yeah.
have 200 years.
They have so many years. And although like Krypton gets like stolen like around this time though.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
they're the first.
I mean, not
to go.
Krypton. Sorry, Kandor. Kandor gets stolen. That's what like I guess like messes with the core of Krypton. So that's
Yeah.
why 200 years later, or so a certain amount of time later, that's when it blows up.
Oh yeah, he says he will expose Krypton's core, which causes it to explode in 200 years. So yeah, it would be the first
Mm-hmm.
to do that. Oh my gosh! And so
I'm just saying, I would have told him on that point. And then look, there would be no fighting. He'd be like, "Yeah, he told me already." And Jules have been like, what? Like, so you're still going with it? But like, yeah, dude, we're gonna get Superman
This is
later.
an important key to life, you guys. Honesty is the best policy.
Dude,
always. Just
honestly.
be upfront, and then you have nothing to lose.
Communication save relations, I can tell. Kendrick.
So I think that. Do you have anything else on that? On that?
Them in the catacombs.
It will probably come up later.
Yeah, yeah, I'll bring anything up later. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
I
fine.
wonder if the Synthonites will come back, but I also wonder if maybe that was just like a quick little plot line for them to just, it would make sense that they're protecting this Doomsday character from coming out, but
Right.
I don't really see them playing into the plot more.
Maybe.
I would hope. I really do like the Ice Queen.
Well, the way things are going, it seems like Brainiac would take over the city, and there has to be some sort of ragtag like
Alliance.
army, and then maybe they can recruit the Synthonites to be like, well, you won't give us Doomsday, so how about you just help us out? Like,
Yeah.
I could see that happening later. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on, we do have voice of Rao, and we see Ona, who's just so dang cute, even though she's
Adorable.
already tattooed up on the face.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
She is so cute.
She's official.
And I am very confused about Brainiac's, the nature of his relationship with her. I can't tell if kind of what we talked about, if he's feeling something different, like maybe she's bringing out something like that movie. What was that you were mentioning?
Oh, first of all, just to preface this, like, so Brainiac is pretty much, he's studying our people. He's studying Kryptonians,
Yes.
their values, what they offer. He's sizing them up and down pretty much, and see if these people are worthy. Because what he sees is that, like, because he steals them, he lets them live forever, so it gives them immortality.
Oh yeah, and he
Right?
says that's like the
Multiple
first line
times,
of the
yeah.
movie, basically. Yeah, your city, your world, do you deserve eternal life?
Exactly. So in his head, he's like preserving a piece of civilization from Krypton.
That was actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because I was kind of wondering, what is his motive behind all of this?
Right.
Like, I know he has the ability to do it, but why? And that made sense. Like, he thinks he does think he is playing God, essentially.
Yeah, he's kind of like a twisted version of Noah and like Noah's Ark, you know,
Yeah.
kind of thing, but like the whole universe. At least that's how I see it. Like, if you guys see it some other way, go right ahead, tell me. But yeah, so yeah, he's sizing them up, and through his not interrogation, but through his questions, he's seeing how their mind works and what they value most in life, in a sense. And so it's interesting because I feel like the fate of Krypton rests upon Ona's hands right now, or Ona's shoulders.
Really?
Yeah, depending on what she says to
No, I
him.
love how you're
Yeah.
taking such a hard line on her role, because I didn't know if she was a filler or was going to be really important.
Yeah. I mean, at least that's how I see
I
it,
hope
because
so.
because he's taking her as a sample size for the whole population. So depending on what she says and what she feeds him, he's gonna determine whether or not Krypton is like worthy. And I was telling her before we started that I've kind of seen sort of like this happen in this one anime called Hunter x Hunter, towards the end, where like this like really like pretty much God mode like being comes into existence, and he goes around and beats everyone at games, right, at like chess or whatever, and then he plays Go with this blind girl, and he can't beat her. And through that relationship that he develops with her, he decides to save the world. And like this blind girl sways his mind to thinking that humanity is good enough to be saved.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that weird like dynamic happening here, but it's definitely a lot more sinister with Brainiac.
Yeah.
Because he's definitely he's not like, I don't think he's empathetic. He's like a robotic humanoid. Like I don't think he's capable of emotions. So he's much more logical, even like in his responses, like how he doesn't see her as a little girl who doesn't know much about the world. He sees her as a being of this world, and she knows, you know, I guess taking her as equal as like someone who knows a lot, you know?
No, Brainiac is a very interesting character to me,
Yeah.
because it's like a super genius on crack times 8 million trillion.
Yeah, very
because
inquisitive.
think about, how logical like he has to be just be taking facts and data and science and information. That's all. He has no connection. He has no human or sort of species connection ever. So he really creeps me out more than, I feel like it would be great to see a villain of that magnitude humanized by someone as darn cute as Ona, but he's
you want Ona to turn into Brainiac?
No, I want Ona to make him like the best.
Change,
yeah, like
change his
turn
heart?
him into like a really nice stepdad.
That'd be
the greatest thing ever. But that's definitely not going to happen because we saw what he did at the end, and we'll get into that. So yeah, that was they weren't in together that much, but what was interesting about the scene with Ona and Brainiac was the other like maiden. I don't know exactly what they're called.
Oh yeah, she's like, let me get out of here.
For him, yeah. She was freaking out.
The voice of Ra, yeah.
Do you think that what I thought was maybe she realizes he's not the voice, like that's not the voice of Rao. She knew because obviously his voice is different.
Right. And then like the way he was talking about things was also like he wasn't talking about like he wasn't talking about like religion or anything, which what they're used to. And yeah, that kind of confused me a little bit too, but I mean, I guess that's how she found out. Like I didn't really take it as she found out, but I definitely was like something's wrong. She's like, something's wrong here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys haven't seen him without his helmet or something?
I
like,
know.
Is he putting that on himself now? He's like, no, I got this. Don't trip. Like, I don't know how that's going down.
I have questions about that.
Like, is he dressing himself?
It seemed like a warning to Ona for me, and I didn't know if it was a warning that this isn't the voice of Rao, or a warning like I know who the voice of Rao is, like behind this mask and robes, and he's crazy.
Yeah, because it would make sense because they are the most intimate with the voice of Rao, who like dress him and actually talk to him as like equals, as in like, yeah, we gotta go. Yeah. Yeah, remember how I told you how I viewed him? Like they keep him on schedule kind of thing. Like that's how I viewed him. So it's like it would make sense to be like, oh, something's incredibly wrong. I'm gonna put this real quick and I'm gonna run away. like that's what I got. So yeah, that would make sense. Like it checks out in a sense in what I'm saying. But yeah, that was a interesting scene. And so yeah, we're definitely seeing also some like character development for Brainiac himself there, which I thought was interesting, and how his mind works and what he prioritizes.
Because and then that cuts into the scene where just in terms of dialogue scenes with voice of Rao, Brainiac, he wants to make the final day of the ceremony open. Yeah. And so it's just interesting to think why is that? Because he knew, like he knows that much already, like he can sense it.
That they're conspiring against him? Yeah. Oh, I don't think so at all, actually.
You think that he just did that as to get more information from all the masses and see what the culture is like?
Yeah, possibly maybe even use that as an attempt to just take them all over with his like Brainiac tentacle things. That he's just like boom, like maybe, or like he, I don't know. It could have been like a plan for him to like take over the masses right then and there, or it could have been just to study. I think it was just to study though. I think that's the most logical
thing for him.
Explanation. Yeah, to see all kinds of faces. Like he wants not just like the higher up. He's like, no, I want to see everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get into the whole plan to overtake him, if you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure that you guys like this video and comment after, because we won't see it in the chat after this video ends. And then if you're on iTunes, make sure you rate us 5 stars if you feel like it, and leave us a comment, any questions or things you guys want to talk about. We love to hear from you guys. You can also tweet at us whenever.
Yeah. A little quick fun thing that I noticed when I hosted, I believe, the second episode, I asked that we're at 6,500 like subscribers on this channel, the Sci-Fi channel, and I wanted to beat up to 7,000 by the time we were done with it. So we're actually already over 7,000.
What?
Yeah, I checked the other day. It was actually last week. We broke it a while ago. I was like,
heck,
oh, cool.
Yeah, that's because sci-fi and superhero shows are killing it
on this channel.
No one's complaining.
Yeah,
I always forget that, you guys. Make sure that if you just watch AfterBuzz in general, we are on the superhero sci-fi channel. So subscribe to that also.
Yep.
So this is probably this whole scenario between the Vexes, the Zods, and the Sagittarii, and this plan to take over is going to be a huge driving force moving forward, and it's getting so complicated, obviously, because of the failure. But I really want to talk about and give a shout out to Dev M, because what a performance. I wasn't sure about him in the first few episodes, but I really respect and I really like his character. He's so loyal to Jaina. She had met with the Vexes earlier in the episode and kind of was like, okay, we have to do this then. And things got complicated because Voice of Ra wanted to move it up, but she confined in a few of her Sagittarii that she knew would stand with her when the time came to it. And Dev was one of the final ones, but his answer to her was like, "You've taught me everything. I will stand with you unquestionably." And I was like, "Yes, Dev."
Yeah, I thought it was a really great moment. Definitely, that was one of my favorite highlights for Dev. And then like this is going back to what we were talking about, like how is he gonna follow orders? Like, is he gonna be just a straight dog of the military, or is he gonna be more like loyal to Jaina, who like can see she's also like, I know everything. Like, I've taught you everything we stand for, but look at me. Like, even I know this is like messed up. Like, you gotta come on. Like, you gotta follow suit. Like, this is not good. Like, what's happened? What the Voice of Ra is doing is just not good. Like, things have not been improving. And also I think I'm guessing we'll get into it a bit, but what Darren said about like his motives too. Like, I was so impressed with Darren this episode. I think that was my favorite part when Darren like reveals his motives. It was so not cliched, like so logical too. Like, it appealed to me. I was just like, yeah, you know what? It was kind of like all over. It felt. I hate to bring this up, but it felt kind of like Killmonger in a sense.
Okay.
Yeah, like that same kind of mentality where it's like, have you looked around? Like, this is not good. Like, sure, I am selfish. I know that I want to be in power, but at the same time, I also know that we need someone else new in power. And that selfish part of me is me being in power, but the non-selfish part of me is me wanting to help everyone in total. Like, we need to reunite these cities in order to have Krypton grow as more powerful as like a species. And I thought that was very powerful. And I thought it was just like, it's like his mind's not short term. It's not like just like, oh, I just want to be in power in Krypton. Like, no, like he has so much backing it up, so much logic backing it up and it showed that he loves his people and he loves like his place. Like, he loves Krypton. And then I was just like, I was taken aback, and I really enjoyed that scene because of how it felt and how it made me like, oh, okay, this guy, like, although he like, I love people who recognize their own faults in a sense, you know? He's able to recognize that he's selfish, and he's really able to recognize that although his motives aren't like completely pure for Krypton, a big part of it is pure for Krypton in a sense. Yeah. It is good for Krypton.
I think that is a huge part in just the acting of this show in general, but the writing of the show in this episode and last episode with Jaina and Darren in particular, really you do see these sides of them that you didn't think that they were necessarily capable of. And Darren in this episode, you're so right that he was very upfront and honest. I still have a couple hundred bones to pick with him on his life choices, but I do like that he's honest. It's like, yeah, I'm this way, but I do want better. And it's true, there's an issue when you become formed into these guilds like the Zods with the military guild, that they don't question things. Right. And this is a life lesson. When you stop questioning anything in your life, it's not good. You should question everything that you devote time to.
Yeah, it leads to subserviency, pretty much, without realizing it, in a sense.
Yeah. With government, with religion, with everything, I feel like the whole planet has kind of been just like stood back, and partly is because there are classes, so the rankless don't have a voice. Right. But there's, in terms of the leadership roles there, they've totally done bad.
Yeah. And it has to go with the issues of, I guess you could say, like, state and church, in a sense. Yeah. Because it's like, they're trying to save, like, you know, the state being Krypton as a whole, while the church is like the Voice of Ra. Just like he says this, like, the Voice of Ra just cares about spreading the word of Ra. Like, what's that going to do for our cities? Like, look at what it's doing. It's doing nothing. No. Like, we need actual intervention. We don't need, like, the Voice of Ra. We need, like, resources. We need to work together with these other, like, cities. Like, that's what the Voice of Ra should be doing. Yeah. You know? Like, but we don't see any of that. And that's why they're unhappy. And that's why the state is going to go up against the church for some reason the church is in power. And why is that? Like, yeah. You know, like,
no, I'm with you.
Should not be happening.
Totally. And I do think Jaina does realize that part of this is completely Darren's fault in general for getting Lyda involved, and that led to Jaina getting involved. But I know that I believe that Jaina knows deep down this isn't right. And even though she hasn't questioned it, now is like, because it's an opportunity, even though she is fighting it and doesn't want to dishonor her name, she knows that they can't live like this. Like, things are going to, it can't end well like this. So she ends up having to make probably the hardest decision in the episode, I would say, in terms of an individual decision, where one of the Sagittari, when they were planning to have the Black Zero guy kind of take the fall for it, and Dev let him through. He said he was gonna,
the whole scanning scene, pretty much.
Called a meeting to speak with the voice of Rao.
That's funny. I didn't think that was a hard choice, to be honest. I thought it was an easy choice.
It's not a choice. Okay, it wasn't a choice.
Okay.
Hard morally, like, you could see it in her face. It looked like she was gonna cry.
She has to kill one of her own.
Yeah, and he's obviously a good Sagittari. He did what she would have taught.
Okay, just on a quick tangent, I thought the hardest choice was to that she was okay. She made she gave the okay to be like, we have to blow it up even if there are people around in the wherever the voice of Ra was gonna be talking in.
Oh yeah, to Dev.
Remember after they changed it that he's gonna be in the public space, and then like, we still have to go with the plan. I think that was a very hard choice in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, but it's the,
like,
it sucks,
normal
but I think it's the right choice. Even if a lot of people are gonna die.
I know, that's the problem with any sort of like war, anything like that. There's always civilian casualties.
Yeah, but they did pulled an audible, so it seemed like an audible, and they had him. Anyway, sorry, that's just a quick.
No, I'm glad you have a differing opinion than me. I think Jaina really has it bad right now. Like, Lyda's gone, and she's nothing that bad has happened to Lyda. I mean, they're finding out a lot of information, but she's always like following her instinct and what she thinks is right. Whereas I think Jaina, ever since she had to make the decision to pair with the Vexes, things are just not gonna go well for her.
Right. Yeah.
I just don't see it. Like, things are really adding up for her.
Yeah. And it's funny because like we also see into the mind of like how she works with Darren. How, like,
I love how she talks to Darren.
Yeah, remember how we talked about this a while ago? How, like, if she does come under control, or like she meets up with Darren. I mean, sorry. If they team up, how are they gonna like interact? How are they gonna react?
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So now we're seeing that. We're seeing like, and we were pretty spot on. We said that Darren is gonna be like barking things at her pretty much, while like Nissa, we still haven't seen how they interact. There is some bad blood between them in a sense. But like, it's a lot more sincere in a sense. But Darren's more like, we gotta do this. We gotta blow it up still. And then she's like, I know, but stop yelling at me. Like,
yeah,
she's like that kind of attitude towards him, where like she's not afraid to.
She explains it. She's like, no, you're not gonna tell me how to do this. I know how they're gonna work. And she's right. She knows exactly how they were all gonna work. On her side of things, she had it on lock.
Yeah, and he should definitely listen too.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he can. We'll see.
So that just basically leads to Dev, when they call that there's a bomb in the building, and then they evacuate Voice of Rao, and Dev
Brainiac. Boom.
Yeah. Oh my God, Brainiac ends up having like a conversation. He's like, "You're good at your job," and he's like, "Thank you." And then he ends up leading him into this place. And little do they know, he takes off his mask and he's half Brainiac, half Voice of Rao.
Yeah.
I did not know that. I guess I knew because of when he took over the other body that he could have those powers that quick, or his arms, his tentacles, or whatever they are. But I was not expecting such a quick reaction. And then the episode ended, and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it was like a couple of frames, and you're done. I was like, "Okay."
Yes.
Okay. I was like, "Did Dev get it?"
Yeah, I know. I was looking. I paused. I was like, "Who's suction
did you really?
cupped?" Yeah.
Who's suction cupped? Because it looked like he might have gotten it. To be honest with you, because when you see the tentacles go out, you see he was on like the bottom left corner of the screen, and you see like that side just gets thrashed pretty hard.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but you see like the top right-ish is like where Jaina was, and then there's a specific shot of her like dodging out of the way. So for a fact, like they wanted us to see that she's good.
Yeah, and if
But
you guys
Dev
have seen
M-
the preview, we know that Jaina is still good.
But is it? I didn't see a preview. Is
Oh
there,
my gosh, it's crazy. Oh my gosh, you guys, the preview is
Language.
crazy.
Steph, language. Oh my god. Just kidding.
But I was like, okay, Dev M is gonna die, but then I kind of took myself a few seconds to think about it, and I don't think he is, because isn't he going to be the father of General Zod?
Are we gonna get Brainiac? Boom.
So I don't think Dev M dies. I hope he doesn't after all his valiant work.
All his
So I think
screams
that's
bomb. No, I'm just kidding.
that's it on that for this specific episode with this plotline. Do you have anything else about what you think could happen?
Real quick, let's go over highlights. I really liked Brainiac.
Oh, the episode.
Yeah, the highlights of the episode.
Give it to me.
I liked how Brainiac looked like half, like, cause you see the back of his head's like all like, but like his face is still sort of okay, but his arms are completely green. That's why he has to wear those gloves. I thought it was cool. I really like the whole Ona and Brainiac scene. I love it when there's like a huge just a force of nature just like interacting with such a like sincere and innocent like being, you know. I just thought I always love those dynamics, because like he can just like snap and she'll be like done.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but there's something that keeps her alive for some reason, you know. Maybe her innocence. I also like Doomsday. I really hope Doomsday comes back. I think it would be great. What are some of your highlights?
I love Doomsday. I love the house sigils together.
Oh, together? That shot
Yes.
was really cool.
So cool.
I thought they were gonna like cut themselves and then be like, brother.
Oh my
and
God.
then just be like
Yeah,
squeeze
yeah,
each other, just like.
sisterhood. I would be so. I hate when they in every action movie, every drama movie like this. Why is there always a hand cut? Always, almost all, and it's just so disgusting looking. But my other favorite parts about the episode, I love that we're seeing like a slow progression of how Brainiac takes over people, because we know, if you guys have seen like pictures just of the season that have come out.
Yeah, he's like completely bald, black. Yeah,
cannot wait.
Yeah,
for
he
that.
looks so good.
So awesome. So that was my favorite part, and just the whole episode in general was. Like, I was really stressed, and I know an episode's really good when they like stress the entire time.
You be stressing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
let's get into the character corner.
Alrighty then. So we're doing a Drew Zod this weekend. Yes, today actually.
It's only right. We have to pay him homage.
Yeah. So I told you guys I was gonna do my best to make this a little bit more in depth here. So let's get into it. Drew Zod, character corner. So first appearance, Adventure Comics number 238. I believe we have the cover up right now. And it was released April 1961, and it was actually titled Superboy, the Phantom Superboy. And it appeared in a flashback. So pretty much Superboy, like a bunch of items crashed down from Krypton, and one of the things is like some sort of helmet that he's able to like look into the past in a sense. And he sees like these trials go. He sees a trial of Drew Zod go down, like in a weird like holographic like form. And so that's why it says. So it's his first appearance, but it's in a flashback, and then it's his flashback of seeing all this happen. He was created by Robert Bernstein, and he was designed by George Papp. And his background is he's a Kryptonian, and he's also from the military guild. Lineage, he's got Jaina Zod as his grandmother, Lyta Zod as the mother, father still unknown. Although I read that in some iterations, I believe he is either uncle to Superman, or also it might be also brother to Superman in some iterations, like half brother to Superman, which is just which I thought was interesting because Seg and Lyta, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, I'm really curious. Who's that?
Yeah, it gets a little muddled since there's always like retro. What is it like when they like they like kind of destroy the cannons in a sense. So there's like a lot of like paths
different,
that he goes down.
Yeah, totally. And I think a lot of the people, you guys in the chat, I mean, on the comments last episode, there was a few people that were like, there's a lot of different versions and a lot that didn't really dive too in detail of Zod.
Right. Yeah. There's been a bunch. I focused on like the media later on. So real quick, origins. He's a megalomaniac. So pretty much maniacal. There you go.
Maniacal.
Yeah, so it's pretty much someone who's obsessed with power. So he was a military director of the Kryptonian Space Center, and he was also raised in the same generation as Jor-El, and he knew him as an inspiring scientist because of the destruction of Wegor that was caused by Jack's Ore. If you remember that me talking about that, the space program was abolished after that. Afterwards, he tried to take over Krypton. He made an army of imperfective clones / robotic duplicates of himself. And a lot of what I saw online, like it was very reminiscent of Bizarro, which is kind of like a clone of Superman. He's just like defective in some ways. They stopped him. They sentenced him to 40 years in the Phantom Zone, and that's where he survives the disruption of Krypton due to being trapped in this Phantom Zone. He's one of Superman's greatest villains of all time. He's also just like in a lot of lists of like great supervillains of all time. He usually pops up in those lists as well.
Makes sense.
Superpowers. Under the yellow sun of Earth, he possesses the same powers as any like regular Kryptonian. So pretty much anything that Superman does. But what I did notice that since he's part of the military guild and Superman was just mainly raised on Earth, he has like combative skills as well. Like he was part of the Kryptonian military.
And trained.
Yeah. So he fighting wise, he's stronger than Superman, but like they have the same strength for the most part when it comes to just like pure muscle. And so there's a bunch of different iterations for General Zod. So in Superman 1978 and also in Superman 2 1980, he was portrayed by actor Terrence Stamp, and then he coined the phrase "kneel before Zod" in the second movie. So in the first, he's seen along with 2 other Kryptonians on trial, and they're banished to the Phantom Zone. In the first movie, that's what happens in the beginning, and I guess it's not called back until afterwards. And in Superman 2, there's a nuclear missile. Like the Phantom Zone in the first one is like a weird piece of mirror that just travels space, and so they get trapped in that weird mirror, and then they're just sent into space. And in Superman 2, a nuclear missile that Superman had previously thrown into space explodes when it comes in contact with the mirror and with the iteration of the Phantom Zone, and so that's how they get out. And Zod heads to Earth. Yeah. And then, so Zod then causes chaos on Earth, but is eventually thwarted by Superman and defeats them using his Fortress of Solitude at the end of Superman 2. And then after that, so these are the films real quick. So those 2 films, on top of that, we also have Man of Steel. That was in 2013, and that's played by Michael Shannon. So that's like the most recent iteration view of him. So he's there right there. So he's in the shackles and everything. I think it's like he's about to be sentenced.
He played such a good Darren Vex.
He would play a good one.
So serious.
So this version of Kandor. This is a version of Kandor, and is the head of the Krypton's military guild, who becomes so dissatisfied with the planet's ruling. By the way, I'm talking about like his iteration.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, he discovers that scientist Jor-El stole the Codex, the key to genetically engineering Kryptons, so that his son Kal-El was born naturally. Oh no, and it says, and his son Kal-El, which is Superman, was born naturally. So that kind of angers Zod, and Zod fights him, and he fights him, but he loses.
And they put the Codex in his DNA, right? So you get the entire DNA of Krypton.
Right on Kal, pretty much. They sent it away with Superman. Right?
Yeah.
So moving along, Zod manages to kill the scientist before he and his forces, which are called the Sword of Ra, including his second in command, Afaora, are captured and sentenced to 300 cycles of somatic reconditioning within the Phantom Zone. 300 cycles, okay. And in the TV series, so there's so many right here. So the first appearance on TV is 1988 Superman animated series, and I believe we have a picture of that too. There's not much information on him. It's kind of like still following the same sort of storyline of like the previous iterations. So yeah, there's him right there, just with like nice little cap. And then after that, on Smallville season 9, he's portrayed by Callum Blue. And so pretty much in season 9, what happens here is that season 9 introduces a character as a young version of Zod known as Major Zod. And he and other Kryptonian soldiers from Krypton, the city of Kandor, are resurrected on Earth as powerless clones. And so Clark tries to make him like live in peace and everything, and prevents him from going down the wrong path. But of course, Major Zod's powers eventually come back, and he's restored, and he reactivates the powers of the Kandorian soldiers to earn their loyalty. He ultimately chooses to fulfill the destiny of the original Zod by embarking on a plan to rule the Earth, and that's on Smallville. But again, I believe it's thwarted, and that's like the last in the last season you see that. And then after that, in Supergirl season 2, he's portrayed by Mark Gibbon, and I believe there's like silver kryptonite dust introduced in that show, I believe, and like it confuses Superman to think that Supergirl is Zod, and then Superman starts fighting Supergirl. And yeah, you could check that out on so it's somewhere in season 2 of Supergirl. And last but not least, we have Krypton's Zod, which is this year's iteration, portrayed by Colin Salmon. And he's not an evil Zod that we're used to, clearly. Yet. He wants to save Krypton from destruction, so he interferes with what's supposed to happen. He does have a great sense of pride, loyalty, and honor to Krypton and all matters of life on it. And so we'll have to see more to see what he's about. He definitely has a sort of hard edge to him. In this show, like he still is able, like he does have like a really steely side to him. Yeah. That I noticed.
I think Colin Salmon does a really good job.
Yeah. Also, like it's kind of like, oh, this guy, he portrays him like someone like he can be my buddy, but he can also like destroy me, like kind of like sense, you know?
Totally.
Like I'd want to.
I don't know if he would be my friend, but he could destroy me.
Like I could get beers with this guy, but I don't want to make him angry, kind of thing, you know? And then we had a little addition from Sky Patterson that says in Superman Earth 1, which debuted in DC Comics in October 2010. Written by Michael Straczynski and illustrated by Shane Davis. Zod appears in comics as Zod-El, brother to Jor-El, and thus Superman's uncle. This version of Zod is also responsible for the destruction of planet Krypton. So I thought that was interesting, because I'm like, we're still not sure of his background on the show Krypton, so like they could possibly pull from all these canons or little itty bitties to make it even more interesting, where we're just gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
You know.
Speaking of Colin Salmon, also he did tweet that he said someone asked, what's your favorite episode of Krypton Sci-Fi you've worked on the season, and he said it honestly builds to the final episode, which is a perfect climax. So episode 10, where I may get to utter the immortal line. So we know he's gonna be around. And
wait, he said the immortal line? That's Neil before Zod.
Yeah.
Wait, so does that? Oh man, that changes a lot of things.
I know. That's what I'm saying, you guys. This is like
First
crazy.
Off, that confirms that he's gonna be alive until the last episode.
Yes, which I'm happy about, because he really screwed things up for Adam Strange, and I love a little
Second
spice.
off, it sounds like he's trying to take over Krypton.
I know. That's why I kept saying, like, you don't know if he's good yet. Like, I really don't know. I don't trust.
I don't
trust strange men that travel back and come and tell me one thing. Also, what was fun with this, usually I kind of want to be able to touch on this a little bit more than we have in past episodes, different sort of Easter eggs that were dropped. This one had two that I caught. They mentioned Kryptonopolis, which we know is where Superman was born. And that's where they had to flee when Kandor was taken over. And then they mentioned the Hall of Justice, which I think in this specific series in Krypton, it's just where Darren Vex and like that sort of guild is. But we know in the DC comics, that's sometimes where the headquarters are, where they'll meet. So that was fun. And then we talked about Doomsday, but it's interesting to think about what he did in the comics. And in Superman, the Doomsday Wars, Brainiac actually briefly took over Doomsday's body and laid waste to the Justice League. So I know, I'm like, and they've been pulling a lot of stuff from the actual comics. So
the recipes,
it's crazy.
The recipes, like the ingredients to the recipe are there. Like we have Brainiac, we have Doomsday.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
It's two of the coolest villains I've ever seen.
I want to see him just like destroy stuff.
I want to see them fight each other.
Yeah, as bad as it sounds.
Destroy each other. Go outside.
Yeah, because they're not going to stand a chance against Doomsday. They don't have any like
No.
Super
Yeah,
power.
what do they think? They're going to open him up and, like, it's just like he'll fight for you?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's not remote controlled. Like,
that'd be like Transformers.
then again, we haven't really seen, like, the Kryptonian, like, arsenal, you know? Like, what do they have? Like,
Clearly,
arsenal.
though, it's not up to standard. Darren, I mean, we did know that from
I don't know.
General Zod
Yeah.
said that. But
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Jack's sword did blow up a moon. Like, maybe.
We might as well get into some predictions right now while we're talking about this.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Are we just firing off, or do you want something specific? Talk about something specific.
No, we can just fire off.
Fire off. All right. I'm trying not to
Watching
think
next
about.
episode's preview kind of screwed me over because I will admit I was completely wrong of what I wasn't wrong, but I just didn't think that was going to happen yet. But
I'm at a disadvantage. 'Cause
I know.
didn't see
Just
that.
know that Darren is a snake, and he's willing to sell out all others.
Or maybe it's part of the plan.
No.
Maybe it's like a red herring that the preview's trying to set up.
No, what I do think is that Brainiac next episode will be fully Brainiac.
Yeah.
And is going to make his presence known. And I don't know.
Next episode?
Yeah, to the guilds, to the main leadership roles.
Okay.
And
He's not gonna go public with it and just like.
I don't think he's going to
jump
go
on the
public with
TV.
it. I think he's going to, because that would ruin his plan, I think.
What is his plan?
To take information
Oh, okay.
and slowly take over.
So is he trying to like treat it as like a control group where he's like, I'm not gonna like pretty much like spill the beans that I'm here yet. I'm gonna let them act natural.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I can see
and then
that.
I think that we are finally going to get Lyda, General Zod, Jaina Zod, and Seg to form some sort of union where they can figure out how the heck they're going to fight him without Doomsday.
Yeah, that's a team I've been talking about. That ragtag team that are gonna come up.
Yes. What do you think?
Well, dang, those are pretty good. Let's
I know.
see.
I was just following.
There has
what
to be.
makes sense.
There's no closure for Adam, Adam and Seg, right? This episode.
No, he said, "I never want to see you again."
Yeah, that's not closure, dude.
No, that's not closure, but that's an exit.
That's an exit for sure. Yeah. So I want to see what happens with them.
He's not going to.
I know. Yeah. I
Adam
know.
is relentless.
But like, who's gonna be the one who's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry." Like, is it Adam who's gonna be like, "Hey man,
I think
what if he does his own
Seg will
thing?
find out something. Like maybe he'll get some piece of information from Val-El
Yeah.
or something that makes him believe Adam Strange's story a little bit more.
Yeah, or maybe like we start to see another side of Zod, and as in Drew Zod, and he kind of like he starts slipping in Seg's eyes, you know, and like, he's just like, I don't think I chose the right guy. I was like, or like, it's like, you're cool, but I don't agree with your methods of doing things.
Yeah.
I could see
There's
that
so
happening.
many openings happening, and I
Yeah.
think this is what they meant by these next few episodes are going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Which,
what
what?
were you gonna ask?
No, go.
Do you think that like Lyda's like all for Zod, like no matter what?
No.
No.
I think
Okay.
Light is the smartest person on
Because I
Krypton right now.
I didn't see any
Other than
sense. I didn't
Brainiac,
get a
obviously.
sense of doubt from her, like following him blindly.
I
kind
think
of
she
thing.
feels a Zod loyalty, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, she's the only one that has the moral compass that like thinks about the greater good, thinks about the present, thinks about the future, and thinks outside of her guild.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that she, even though she would be biased to him, obviously, I don't think that she would be turned that fast. But we'll find out,
I
you
agree.
guys. Next Wednesday, May 2nd, will be transformations, which that's
snap.
things are happening, and then we will be back next Sunday
Gonna
to
be some more
break it
Brainiacs.
down. But make sure to, you guys, tell us what you guys think, because we're probably, you might know more than what we know coming up.
I'm sure you do.
I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw. And Anthony, where can we find you?
Oh yeah, you can find me everywhere at TonyBTony_. Again, TonyBTony_. Don't forget to rate and subscribe on our iTunes page and leave a comment there as well to win the hats that Sean Sipos himself, Adam Strange, signed. And we'll be giving that out at the last episode of our after show. I know there's one person in particular who really wants it. It's really great reading her comments.
Love it.
Yeah, so stick around for that. And thank you for joining us again.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah, peace out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Stay super.
The views expressed herein are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.